Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits HD. I would have brought you this video sooner, but Sega put up this weird embargo. It was a two-stage embargo where you could put up a video of like the first two worlds, and that was basically it. Like a week or two ago, but you know me, I like getting a little bit further in than that, so I just kind of left it all alone and thought to myself, I'll wait until the game is properly out before I actually release a video on it. So I did. So let's just go have a quick look around before we jump in. We've got a few options here that are worth looking at. Brightness is kind of nice, but frankly this game is so colourful it doesn't need it. You probably want to turn down voice, but for the purpose of demonstration I'm going to leave it turned on. Camera sensitivity feels a bit misleading in this sense, because the camera sensitivity can also change how sensitive the movement is, even if the movement isn't truly affected, and we can kind of understand why once we hop into the actual game. So the game's got two main modes and two different ways of playing those modes. So you got the main game, which is your bog standard Super Monkey Ball, and you've got your party games, which you can play with friends. And there are 10 of them. They're all crap. We'll get to why later. But yes, you got the two of those modes. And then you've got two different ways of playing them. You've got Time Attack, which is letting you go through the main game levels as fast as humanly possible. In the main game, you don't have to worry too much about time limits. And Decathlon, which makes you play all 10 minigames in a row, and then puts all your scores together and puts it on the online leaderboards. And that's basically it. So we're just going to hop into the main game. Just to start with, as you play through, you'll unlock things like alternate costumes, and I gotta say, man, these voice clips sound weird. It sounds like they're telling me to fuck off. It's a little strange, I know, but that's just the way of it, I suppose. So, all of the different characters have different stats, except for life for some reason. They all have the same amount of lives. I don't know what that's about. But you can pick whichever monkey you want. I'm going to go with Ai, because I think Ai is the one I'm the most comfortable with. And we're going to play a set of levels that I'm relatively comfortable with. So, each level has 8 individual levels, a bonus stage, and a boss stage. You need to finish all of them in a row without using a continue. You have a limited amount of lives in order to get the champion medal. However, you can just continue from anywhere, and if you continue at any point, you just get the clear medal. There are 8 stages here that you unlock naturally, but there is a 9th you get for getting the champion medals on all 8 of these, and then there is another one that you get for getting a champion medal on the 9th set of stages. So, yeah, kind of a bit of a pain in that sense, but that's just a thing, I suppose. I guess we'll start with Deretrius Desert. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that. They give you a nice little control reminder there, but it's not really necessary. We're just gonna start with World 1 and just go. Just as a demonstration of things. It's a relatively easy set of levels, so I can use it to demonstrate how the game works. So this is Super Monkey Ball if you've never played it. It is... You know those really old tabletop games that they had, where you had to try and roll a ball around a series of holes in the table in order to get to the very end? This game is that concept brought to life, and Banana Splits HD is a remaster of the Wii version that came out all the way back when that came out. I'm not going to claim to know the original date. It was probably like 10 years at this point. The controls are incredibly simple. You move the world around using the left analog stick. You do have a jump on the A button, which you want to use sparingly. For example, doing things like quick turns with it like that to avoid falling off an edge is usually a good idea, but get too trigger happy with it and you will probably be sent flying off said edge. You do have lives, as you can see in the top right corner there. You can increase the amount of lives you have by collecting bananas in the levels, and they are usually in relatively precarious positions. The most notable kind of banana is the bunch of bananas, which will give you 10 bananas, and considering that a extra life is 30 bananas, it means that the most treacherous ones will usually be the bunches, but you'll usually get a pretty good reward at the end of the day. I do apologize if you're getting motion sickness. This game's not very good for that, if I'm being perfectly honest, especially if you turn the camera sensitivity all the way up, because it really can affect what you feel like you're doing. Because the camera sensitivity does determine the rate of movement of the camera, which can also make you feel like you're moving faster or slower than you actually are, which can definitely come back to bite you if you aren't careful. So the idea of each stage is to obviously get through this goal ring here, and getting through that as fast as possible for the best possible times is a sort of monkey ball hardcore players tradition. Me personally, I haven't been going for that, mainly because being fast in this game is kind of ridiculous. It often involves some strange strategies, like being able to accurately rock the world under you, so that you can rock it back and forth really quick to build up a lot of speed, and then bring the world under you via a single movement of the analog stick. Like, some of the movements that they pull off in speed runs of these games are absolutely crazy, and I would recommend going and watching one just for the sake of it, because seriously, high-level monkey ball play is kinda ridiculous. With that being said though, I am not a high-level monkey ball player, I just try and get to the end. Sometimes I try and look fancy about it, but sometimes there are levels I'm just happy to get through. There are a couple of things in this game that well and truly knock your socks off, like more than once. I guess my main problem with the monkey ball gameplay in general is just the control. Now it is, like, there is a level where actively gimping the controls makes it feel like more of a pain in the ass than a proper challenge. It seems like the majority of... This is the bonus stage, by the way. The goal is to get all the bananas, not to find the goal ring. And if you manage to get all the bananas, it'll just let you out of the level immediately, but if you don't, you'll just go out of the level anyway. You're fine here, you don't have anything left to waste. You don't lose a life if you fall off an edge, for example. You just continue on as you see fit. But I just fell off there. It doesn't matter. I got some lives out of it. I'm happy. But yeah. My main problem with these games has always been the control, mainly because it's weird trying to control these games due to the overwhelmingly sensitive nature of the analog stick, while still at the same time not having so much as direct control over the ball as what feels like the camera. You do definitely speed and skid around the place, and it is easy to start going so fast that it's impossible to control yourself, and once you do, you are pretty much doomed to head off the edge of a level. The different characters do help out with this to a point, but at the same time, I will admit that this control scheme is not for everybody. It definitely does feel like the game is trying to screw you at some points, and there is one major factor to this that I would like to bring up, and that's the boss fights. Now, in the regular levels that we're playing here, you can see that the camera never really changes from its regular intended behavior, and that is to keep the camera behind the player as much as possible, actively face where the player is going. Although, if you do something like turn around really quickly like this, it takes a while to actually get into place, which I'm not a fan of. I wish that would happen a bit faster. But yes, for the most part, the camera works in a pretty predictable way. You'll always start heading towards the direction in which you're pushing, and the camera will eventually turn to face where you're going. This is fine. It's a little hard to get used to, and it's definitely one meant for more skilled players, but it's fine. It works as expected. Where this idea starts to fall apart is the boss fights, because in the boss fights, for whatever reason, they decided to make it so that the camera actually follows the bosses all the time, except when it doesn't, because it decides randomly to just cut the lock onto the boss and leave you with your regular controls. But it means that the controls feel different. It feels like pressing in a different direction goes in a different direction. And it makes the boss fights a major pain in the ass, because with the controls feeling different under you, it means that they are harder to fight, especially since the lock-on is directly towards the camera, so directly towards the boss. So in order to successfully navigate your way around the boss arena, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can I jump my way out of this? I can absolutely try. But it means that when the camera is facing directly towards the boss, and by the way, the boss is usually a target that you want to avoid with all sense of grace, it means that you'll be constantly going to the left and right, going places you can't see, pretty much losing control over your character in the same sort, in a different sort of sense than to, like, you know, going so quickly that you lose all sense of control over your character. In this case, no, you're heading towards the unknown. The controls feel kind of off because you're very not used to going left and right on stages like these. You're very much used to, like, going forward, making turns, and pulling back to hit the brake, just as an example. But when it comes to this game, it feels really weird to do that. And I've actually picked a stage where this doesn't actually apply, so it's not the best demonstration. See, this is the boss fight. It's actually like a small gauntlet. It's the best boss in the game by far up to this point. And I've faced like 6 bosses just because it doesn't rely on the camera being entirely locked to the boss. I mean, look, you can see that it is still kind of locked into like a forwards pattern, but at the same time, you still remain completely controllable. And in the 1 or 2 places you can see here where they don't, like, where they do make it so that the camera locks onto something, you're actually in very little danger of falling off the stage, and it's more a speed thing than it is a proper danger thing. Like, not being thrown over the edge of a thing. Yeah, see what I mean? How the camera, if the missile gets behind you, see what I mean? It automatically swaps the camera, which means your controls automatically get swapped as well, which makes it an absolute douche canoe to control properly, just in that split second where it changes direction, and those missiles are strong enough to bounce you away. Like, look at that. I am gone. I do not exist at that point. I have gone beyond the light speed barrier, and I've been disappeared from the world. And in a game where all of your sense of control to avoid this fate seems to disappear at the drop of a hat when, like, a missile gets behind you or something, man, it sucks. It just sucks. And this happens all the time with the bosses. It happens not at all during the regular stages, but the bosses just get wiped. The bosses just have it happen all the damn time. And it is the most frustrating thing in the world when it does, because it makes the controls really unresponsive in comparison to what you've learned and what you're trying to do. I don't even need to worry about these missile launches, except when they actually do hit me. All I need to do is hit that button at the end and I'm done. But it seems like the missiles just have a particular hard-on for blowing the crap out of me at this point. A little bit unpredictable here, and since the camera movement changes, it makes it just that little bit harder to control still. Especially the sensitivity, because it definitely does feel like, with a higher sensitivity, that your movement is more sensitive. There was this one particular area, and you can't actually change the camera sensitivity while you're in an actual level to, like, test out the differences, which is, like, one of the worst things imaginable, in all honesty. It would be like, come on, you would think that they'd put in the effort to letting you change it mid-stage. Like, look, see, there's no options menu here. Which is just frustrating in the grand scheme of things. Alright, let's just leg it. And we won. It's that simple, really. We get the golden banana, whatever that means. So we're going to go back to the stage select. I'm going to go show you one of those bosses I was talking about. Then we'll go to World 7 just to show you how tricky these games can get. So this will be Jumble Jungle. And it has the same thing with the homing missiles too. So if I just head all the way over here... Wow, it won't actually let me try the boss stage. Okay, I guess I'll have to play stage 8 then.
Ready? Go!
The stages do get progressively more difficult. Like, admittedly, I didn't actually need to continue until... World 5, which I thought was a pretty decent showing for me, but these games get mostly, like, the sort of difficulty that Super Monkey Ball is known for around the stages that you unlock for getting the clear and continue medals. This is also the HD version, so I don't know if they've added any extra levels on top of the ones that were in the original game. I was just looking up a wiki on the original levels just for the purpose of being able to talk about it for this video. Oh, won't actually let me go to the next one. Well, that's a bit shit, if I'm being honest. I don't know why they won't let you... Oh, I guess you have to actively beat all of the levels with all of the bananas in order to actually unlock the boss stage at any time, which seems unnecessary to me. Whatever, we're just gonna go play volcanic pools. The actual game, that's not the boss fights, though. Every one of the boss fights is shit, by the way. Every single one of them. Even that, like, little gauntlet one, which is still the best one, it's still shit. Just due to how it changes the basic gameplay without really adding anything to it, which I hate. It seems incredibly unnecessary in the grand scheme of things, and I just, yeah, I do not see the point of it. I wonder where the goal ring is. What? Oh, come on, are you serious? There is a little neat feature for that, although you do get to see a little bit of an overview of the world, but in my defense, like, even if it was zooming in like this, like you start out from all the way back here and then it zooms in on the start point, it would take someone who's really, really paying attention to notice that tiny little gap. Like, so you can barely see it unless I've got the camera at the right angle. That tiny little gap there between the tube and the goal that you need to jump at the end of, that's kind of dick level design, I gotta say. Whoops. I suppose I did that almost fast enough to get the bunch there, but just too slow. So yeah, the faster you do this, and ooh, I just completely overshot it. Okay. Oh, this is gonna suck for me. Alright, come on. No, just bunny hop over the... Never mind. We're up to speed now. Gonna be a bit of a dick to, get all of those bananas, I gotta say. Oh, come on, seriously?
Ready? Go!
I mean, I said they got harder. And I'm not that good of a monkey ball player. Well, I got one batch of bananas. I'll take that. Just bunny hop over that one. Bunny hop over that one. Pull back to gain some speed. Let the camera reset, and then That was odd, but okay. Gotcha. Alright. I really did say they got difficult.
Ready? Go!
Are the bosses bad enough to convince me to... Oh god, it's a tightrope. If I can just get on the damn thing. This is why camera sensitivity is really important, folks, because I had the camera sensitivity up, and for the life of me, I just kept jumping right over the top of that for like a full 60 seconds. Those simple tightropes are a real dick when you've got the camera sensitivity too high for your, well, for your senses, really. Just hold it up slowly. Whoop. Oh, Jesus wept. Oh, no, down I go. Really hard to focus, I'm just going straight forward. I did not try playing this undocked. I've been playing this docked with a Pro Controller the entire time. Good lord, I can't even imagine anyone who's got even the remotest of drift problems playing this. Like, Jesus wept. Damn it! Almost had it.
Ready? Go!
I can't even imagine what the boss is going to be like. The worst boss is the boss on stage 5. Now, that boss is an absolute retarded level of design. The collision masks on its tentacles are huge, and it will send you flying if you so much as brush up against it. Combine that with the weird controls they have for fighting bosses where it's locked on to that. You can tell I'm focusing, can't you? Wow, look at that. Shit.
Ready? Go!
With the weird controls they have for focusing on the boss, a boss that feels like it has a hitbox twice the size of the actual thing, and tentacles that will send you flying off the course. It doesn't feel like a proper test of Monkey Ball skills. It feels more like a luck roulette more than anything else. Alright, I think you get the point. I am not going to get this done in any sense of the word, so we're just going to quit here. Already spent 7 lives on that bloody stage. Very difficult, though. Definitely what you're looking for if you're a Monkey Ball fan. Me, personally, I never get much further than this point. I'm pretty sure this is the kind of point that I got stuck on the Vita version as well, so we're just going to leave that there. And we're going to go play some of the party games. Unfortunately, most of them are shit. So you've got 10 mini-games here. We're going to start with the worst one. Just for the purpose of demonstration. We're not going to play all 4 of the, all 10 of these, by the way, because as I said, they are all terrible. Because the majority of them resemble, like, Mario Party minigames, but worse? So yeah, this is Monkey Snowboard. The physics on this snowboard feel terrible. They don't have anything to do with the, like, the actual Monkey Ball physics whatsoever. They just made up some completely new physics for it, and they feel terrible. This is not satisfying to play in the slightest. You have a really slow turning rate, like, obviously on purpose to make it hard to get the bananas, but it is just really unresponsive and unenjoyable. Sure, I get that it's meant to be competitive with your friends, but just on game feel alone, this fails massively. It is next to no fun to actually play. You know what's funny? Bloody Ape Escape had better minigames than these. I'm not even kidding, like, it feels weird to bring up Ape Escape in Super Monkey Ball, just due to, you know, monkeys, but... Man, I just find it funny. The snowboarding minigame in that was so much better. It just had much better game feel. It didn't feel like a laggy, unresponsive piece of shit. And as I said, this is the worst one, but they're all pretty bad in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the only decent one is Monkey Target. The only real decent one is Monkey Target, where you have to... You get launched from a cannon, and you have to be consistently opening and closing the flaps on your ball in order to land as close to the middle as possible. Was that a clipping error? That felt like a clipping error. Like when you're able to see through the world. Yeah, I guess I won that one. What's another one that I can play? Whack-a-mole, just to give you an idea of how bad these are. At least they let you play with AI in this one, but in Decathlon, they don't let you play with AI at all. It's all one player, so it makes it even worse. Yeah, the controls on this one are super sensitive, and you need to hit directly on the hole to actually get it, so it's not fun at all. Like, I wish I could turn down the sensitivity for this minigame specifically, but it just doesn't seem to be a thing. And there's really nothing to it. There's no, like, special power-ups. There's no chains as far as I can tell. Like, I just got 3 in a row there, and it didn't give me any kind of, like, point bonus for them. It's just really not that fun. And of course you can play them with your friends, and of course every game by default is better with friends, but frankly, if you're looking for a good minigame collection, you're probably better going with Super Mario Party. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't go with Super Mario Party over this. Let me describe the rest of them for you. So, Seesaw Ball. You move the controller to the left and the right to send the character down movable seesaws to get as many bananas as possible and get to the end. It's basic, it's not really that enjoyable. Space Monkey Attack. It's a massive pain in the neck. You are flying left and right, you shoot with A, and you try and shoot as many enemies as possible, but it eventually just fills with enemies and bullets, and it's no real fun to play at all. Slingshot. The controls are incredibly sensitive, so trying to actually hit anything in it is a pain. Dangerous Route. You move the analog stick to move the ball, but it's from a top-down view, and it doesn't have the Super Monkey Ball physics. It's just the faster you go, the harder it is to do things like make turns, and it's just a hard stage where you have to avoid objects, and it isn't that enjoyable to play. Hurdle Race. It's that mini game that every one of these has where you have to hammer away at the buttons and press the A button to jump, but it's really hard to get up to a good speed, and you always feel like you're being really sluggish about it. Hammer Throw. It's another one of these. Actually, I'll leave that one. We'll play that one just as the last one. Hovercraft Race. You use the analog sticks to adjust the boosters. You press both of them to go forward. You hold one of them to go to turn. You hold both of them back to reverse. It's not fun to control at all because it feels like you're on ice because, well, you are. We already did Monkey Snowboard. I already talked about Monkey Tire. It is the best one because it at least has some semblance of variety to it. And we'll go play Hammer Throw just as one last demonstration.
Ready?
At least the loading times are nice and quick. So you hold the A button, swing it around, let it go at the right time. It's not simple, really. You get 5 tries at it.
Go!
Yeah, basically all these minigames are terrible. Like, most people will argue the Monkey Target is the best thing in the world. I do not agree with them in the slightest.
Ready?
It's not that entertaining, but at least it's better than all these other ones. These other ones feel like they were, like, last-minute additions. They add nothing. They are legitimately incredibly boring, and I was already bored with it after like 7 games in the decathlon, so I eventually just ended up, like, whenever there was a time limit on a game, I just ended up putting it down after getting the slightest feel for the game and its controls.
Game set.
There are, of course, online leaderboards for the decathlon, so you can go online and see how you did, and at the time that I recorded this, I was actually second, but remember, this is at a time where most people don't actually have the game yet. We'll see if I'm still there. I've probably gone down. No, I'm still there. Not by much, but I'm still there. And to be perfectly honest, I did terribly. Like, in most of the mini-games, I managed to fail pretty impressively, so I'm surprised I still managed to get that high. I imagine when the game does eventually come out that it'll be much better. In terms of, like, actual competition. So with that said, do I like Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits HD? Not really. I mean, the actual levels are okay. They clearly have a little bit of challenge and design put into them, and they are enjoyable. But they're let down by a surprisingly wonky camera, a boss fight system that just extinguishes all goodwill I had for the camera being relatively wonky, and a party game mode that feels like it was shoved in at the last minute, and it is completely unenjoyable. Like, I had absolutely no fun playing that mode, and they advertise it as half the game. It is an unbelievably worse version of any, like, Mario Party game in general, and I honestly can't stand it. I think it is one of the worst things I've played in recent memory. So, basically the question is, do you want to buy Super Monkey Ball Banana Splits HD for, say, 80 good levels, or 8, we'll be fair, we'll say 88 good levels, or actually no, it's 10, so 90 good levels and 10 shit ones that you absolutely have to get through? I guess that's the question you need to ask. Considering that this is probably going to be a full-priced game, I don't know if it is, I don't know the price. I think I read the PR email and didn't mention price, but unless this game goes on sale for like 20 bucks or less, I wouldn't recommend it. Because, yeah, the boss levels are just that frustrating, the party games for the decathlon are just that worthless, and that just leaves like 90 levels with 10 bad ones that you have to get through in order to see the game through, and I feel bad about it. I remember trying to fight that damn octopus on stage 5 and thinking to myself, would I really recommend this to someone? And the answer is no. So, yeah. Wait for it to go on sale, in my personal opinion. To be fair, if you're a fan of Super Monkey Ball, you've probably picked this up already. You probably already have it pre-ordered, but yeah. If my taste means anything to you, wait for it to go on sale if you're desperate for a Super Monkey Ball game. That's pretty much all I've got to say on the matter. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.